Hello, lovelies. Today is Thursday, February the 26th, 2026, and I'm making this video at the Leo Meridian hour between 11 and 1 p.m. every day, tuning in to our heart's desire and what creates joy and wonder for us. So today's a really key day because it's blue storm Wavespell has just begun, and it's very important for me because it's my wave spell. So not only do we have a Mayan galactic signature, which is when we came into this life, we also are part of a 13-day process, which is a DNA thread. So just to give you some cosmic codes for today, there's lots of things happening right now. I've been spending some time looking at the cosmology and the astrology and making some lists so that I don't forget what's coming up and what's happening. So much is happening right now, and the energy is really powerful. And also, Mercury retrograde has just begun and will be here until the spring equinox, which is Friday, the 20th of March, here in Florida in the morning, and is also very key to the cosmic code. So let's just begin with the calendar. I'm in the process of making some new resources as well. They're in the works. So one of the amazing magical things about this calendar is that it teaches you as you work with it. It's a synchronizer. It helps you focus on your personal cosmic cookie trail and also helps us understand what's going on in the universe on a daily basis, which, again, when you think of all the information that's out there, there's so much now in this information age. For me, this has just really helped me to focus on what's coming in and gives me a guide every day. And also, it helps me expand my intuition so that I look at what's coming next, and it's always mind blowing. So this is my 15th year that I'm in with working with the calendar, and it began on the 2nd of November 2011 back in Glastonbury in the UK when I went to a workshop and I got my first calendar and started moving the blue tack. If you want this particular calendar, you can download it from my website, flowwithjo.com. It's on resources. If there's a lot on my flowwithjo.com. If you need any help with that, please put a comment in the link below, message me, and I will make sure that you get the information. I actually made this calendar myself, and that was a fantastic process of understanding. Okay, so here we are today on Blue Magnetic Storm. That's where the blue tack is. And Blue Storm's planet is Pluto. Just been learning a lot more about Pluto. Thank you to my friend Richie. And I've just got a new book about it. Well, new to me. So if you are wanting to know more about these Plutonian cycles that we're in right now, because they are big stories coming up around Pluto energy, again, please message me, get in touch, and we can explore what that means for you around patterns at this time. So with every Mayan sign, it is twinned with another Mayan sign. And you can see that these two are together. So you've got Blue Storm and Yellow Sun both have the planet Pluto. Blue Storm is a transformation because it's blue, and Yellow Sun is the manifestation because it's yellow. And basically, we are focusing on Yellow Sun. That's the galactic sun, the galactic center that sends out the human evolution code for us to align with. And it's the end of the 20-day process. It's also very key to understanding significant patterns for human beings. All about the shadow story. And shadow story is basically where we have had an event as a human being and it hasn't been a pleasant event. It's been something that created some emotional upset for us on whatever level that is. And that's also linked to our ancestors as well. So the 20-day process that I've just mentioned is Red Dragon, goes through all of the Mayan signs, and then we go back to the top again. We go down. So as we go down over the 20 days, we go through all these different archetypes. There's no hierarchy with any of these. It's just a process. And although this is in a 3D linear form, then you think of it in 3D, it's a very different thing. It's a torus, actually, Torus. And if you were to pull it up, it would be a pyramid. So it's like we're going down and we're climbing around the pyramid. And then we're starting to go up. Okay, so the 20-day process, we're on the very first one at the bottom of the pyramid, what the Great Mother is bringing us. And this cycle, so these 260-day cycles, they run concurrently, and each one has a different astrology that initiates it. And it also has a different Mayan moon because of that. So there are 13 Mayan moons. They last for 28 days, and they begin on the 26th of July every year. For the first 28 days, this is what's being initiated for us over this 9-month period, which is a gestation period. It's a human cycle. It's also linked to the Pleiades. And again, check out the Seven Sisters for that. Go on your own personal cookie trail around the Seven Sisters and what that means. Okay, so began 10th of December 2025. It's in Sagittarius and it's in overtone moon. So we're becoming experts. That's what overtone is. It's number 5. We're becoming experts on our moon story, our mother's emotional story. And so we've already completed this red castle, 52 days, and I do 52-day programs now. Been doing these since 2020, and these are mind-blowing in themselves. If you're interested in knowing more, again, please contact me, because the next one will be starting, well, not too far away, actually. I think I've got a date for that. I'll come back to that in a minute. 52 Days of Red, awakening to our survival issues. And then the next one started on the 31st of January, which was Red Skywalker, which is the human being, the 13th Mayan sign, the human being that is looking to transform their storyline, their ancestor storyline. And so Again, if you look at this, we have Mars taking action. 31st of January. So again, you can cross-correlate key dates in the Gregorian calendar, which we all use, and understand how to get off the 12 steps, because this is a 13-step calendar, and the 13 steps make all the difference. It means we're going to the next level as human beings. We are actually evolving. Okay, so today we are here in the white. So Red Skywalker 52-day process is building on previous one. How do we come into truth? How do we find truth? Because we are all immersed in a cultural program. So, I'm talking about the Western world. Well, most of the world, I guess, these days has a Western influence there. However, certain countries in the world have their own frequency. I mean, every country does, but it doesn't have the same frequency as Europe, for example. If you're in the Americas, it has very different frequency. Of course, every culture, every place has its own pattern and its own code. The universe is a pattern matcher. And so even though we've had a template, let's put it that way, we've had a template superimposed by a particular group of people who have control in mind, programming how to make us behave in a certain way, in a way that they want us to behave, because it fits their marketing plan, it fits their I'm laughing, but it is, it's dark. But it is all part of our evolution, is to understand that and where it comes from. And where it comes from is trauma. It comes from people who are not doing their shadow story healing. They're expanding it. And so we're all part of that process as well. Okay, so we've done, let's do it this way, that's easier. So we've done 1, 2, 3 20-day cycles, and we're just about to complete the 4th. And then we're going to go into the 5th in this Wavespell. And the 5th, like I said, it's the overtone, it's the mastery of the previous 4 processes. And if you are into numerology, you'll understand what I mean. So again, the 13 numerology process in this takes us through that's here. So if you want to pause that, you can look at that. This is my perception of it that I put on here. And so we initiate, we get new learning, we create alchemy, we look at how to be self-existing and free from this codependency power over pattern. And then we come into the overtone, which is basically the mastery of the first 4 steps, also known as squaring the circle. So we go to a different level on the 5th step, because basically we've done the red, white, blue, yellow. We're back to red again, but each one has a different energy. Okay, so in a simplistic way, that's what it is: awakening, refining, transforming, manifestation, go to the next level. Okay, so we've been going to the next level. We've already done 2 wave spells. So we've had the Skywalker, very powerful. I do say that in my experience, it is the most transformative 13-day process, what creates heaven on earth. has 3 clear signs in it. And again, if you want to know more about that, check out glowwithjo.com, 13 clear signs. I've done several articles on that. And basically, again, this is a process. Whenever we have these days, whenever we have these experiences, we want to get clear of that in us. And we've got a clear sign coming up in this one, which is going to be on day 9. And so that is here, and it's blue solar hand, and that is my signature. It's the only blue clear sign in the 13 clear sign process. And basically what that energy is about, in my experience, is transformation. It's transformation of our wounding stories in a very specific way. So we're going to rewire our amygdala. And in doing so, we get to have a different adventure on planet Earth. We want to be rewiring, releasing, rebirthing. And Blue Storm is intrinsic to this. So we're basically looking at our Plutonian stories where we have had some intervention by a person, by an event that has totally shaken us up. And if we haven't healed it, then it's in our emotional mind, it's in our trigger system. This is so key for human beings to understand. This is not logical, it's not rational, it's not intellectual. The emotional mind isn't any of those things. It's a pattern matcher. So Blue Storm shows us where we actually are as a human being. And Yellow Human Wavespell follows on from this, okay? So where are we as a human being each day? Well, there's huge stories going on the planet right now. And so many people are getting triggered left, right, and center by everything that's coming up. And wherever you've got your triggers, that seems like a problem. The other person seems like a problem. The event seems like a problem. And on a quantum level, this is why it's so important to understand this, is the universe reflects us and it reflects our personal stories. It creates a holograph for us to navigate through. And at first, this can seem totally overwhelming if we don't have any tools. And this is why so many people have addictions. They feel overwhelmed. They don't know how to deal with life. And they just want to numb out. They don't want to feel all their feelings. This again goes back thousands of years. But the tools are out there. Again, if you want to know more about this, if you don't already have this information, please message me, because my passion is about sharing these tools because they work. Does mean that you have to do a lot of work on yourself. And again, it depends on how old you are, how many cycles you have had on planet Earth. And also, the tools that I use will work in addition to and benefit you as to what you've already done and what you already have. So this is a complete win-win. Okay, so we've got one more day and then we begin the 5th. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we're going to go into Electric Dragon, which is the alchemy. So this is an amazing tool once you learn how to use it to understand what universal day it is. And then you can add in the astrology as well. If you already know astrology, that's great. But I've worked with people from all different backgrounds who don't need to know any of this stuff. You just need to get with the program, basically, because we all do know this stuff. It's underneath the interface. We've already been on track. We've been doing what we're meant to be doing. And again, there's decoders that go with this. And oh, move on to that. Blue Storm is a planetary code. 20 mind signs. There are 5 tribes, and each tribe has their own specific way of working with the energy for human beings. So, again, the more you know about which tribe you're in, which year you're on, this helps you really focus with conscious awareness. And people that I've worked with the 52-day process, again, they are just blown away by how it all works. You realize nothing is random, nothing has ever been random because we're in a pattern weaving universe. And actually, I just watched a great YouTube video the other day, synchronistically, because we're always drawn to whatever's relevant for us right now. Just remember the universe is you reflecting back you and your next steps, where you've been, is always there in a magnetic sense. So it's always going to show you your own patterns, always, which is why that's where the focus has to be. So this lady has moved from America to France, and she was just really brave, and she went there and she had a different life. And I think most of her family thought she was mad, and but she did it anyway. And she was talking about how to create a home with an anchor piece. So you just pick one piece of something that you really like. So, for example, a pattern, a bell, a colour, a fabric, but usually more than a colour. Usually there may be a colour theme, but it could be something that you're really drawn to. And she goes into this, and I will post a link to her channel below as well. And again, it just fascinated me. And so she learned about this when she was 18 years old, which is a significant age in astrology. And she bought a tea set. And I'm not sure how old she is now, but she's a mature lady. She's retired. And so, yeah, she's bringing all this wisdom to the table and explaining this process. Blue Storm is connected very much to this for me. And so I set sail to Greece when I was 20, and I had some of the old paperwork. And so I looked up the date, going back to the decoder. So the date that I went was my Mayan sign day. Okay. But I didn't know that. I had no idea that that was the case. And so this is how you can use the decoders to look back at significant events, people, anniversaries, lots and lots of different ways to decode your personal storyline. And you'll see that you were absolutely meant to do these things at this time. And understand that we are all part of a greater pattern That's my cat. And yeah, okay. So the reason I'm talking about that as well is I thought, okay, so let's talk about the bigger picture of blue storm. So blue storm is a planetary pattern. And so on the 26th of July, every year we go into one of these planetary patterns and they last for 13 years. So we have red moon, we have white wizard. We're currently in that 13-year cycle and it began in 2019. We have blue storm and then we have yellow seed. So if you are one of these, this is really key for you. It's about planetary evolution. Red moon is about authenticity and being the beacon of light. And of course, there's a red moon calendar, as I've just mentioned, which starts on the same day. So that covers a time period as well. White Wizard is about empowerment and aligning with the universe so we can let the magic flow through us. Just imagine if we didn't have any of these ancestral wounding stories, if we hadn't been hijacked by this Gregorian system, we'd be living in a very different reality. And that's a reality that we want to be going back to, that we're making our way back to. Blue Storm is transforming these two other, red and white, so that we can be in the eye of the storm no matter what is going around us. And in order to do that, just on a basic level, we need to be able to stay calm and keep our head no matter what's going on around us. So the more we heal our trigger points, the calmer we become, the more rooted we become and trust ourselves. And most people don't because of what has happened over their lifetime. This is the key to living a different life. Yellow seed is the star seed that we can access underneath, which is really magical because it's all of the magic of our ancestors, their wisdom, what we came here to deliver. And in order to do that, we have to let go of any masks. So going back to Red Moon, we have to be authentic no matter what. And that is very difficult if we are in a position where we can't be authentic with people who we live with, for example, or people who we work for, etc. So just think about that for a moment and think about who is in your life, what's happening for you, where you can't be your real self for whatever reason. So going back to when I looked at going to Greece, which was hugely important in my life and definitely a past life for me. So I thought, okay, so I'll just have a look at where we were on the planet back then. And we were in a blue storm cycle in 1986. We were actually in red resonant moon at that time. So you think back, so that's 86, 85, 84, 83, 82, 81, 80. 1980 would be the blue storm 13-year cycle. So think back to what was happening for you then. If you're around my age, I'm 60, then you would be probably finishing high school around that time. I think I finished around 1981. It was a huge time for me. My grandfather died in 1980, and our whole family pattern changed at that point. It was the first major death that I'd had in my life. And again, if you look at when that happened for you, that will be very, very significant, especially if they were a very strong patriarchy figure, which my granddad was. He was a Leo. And there's a whole story around that as well. Very, very significant. So once you start to map these codes, you can become very aware of your personal story. And that is the most important thing for you to be aware of in order to understand what circumstances in life have created you and have created the life that you live now. This is the reason why we have cycles, why we have patterns, and why we keep repeating them. And you will keep repeating them in this life in order to go to the next level. And I know that can be very challenging for people when they don't have tools to work with that, which is why I'm passionate about sharing the tools. Emotional freedom technique will help you to go through these great transitions that are happening right now. And often this is very underestimated and people don't really realize it. Because they don't realize just how powerful it is. Now, what's coming up in the next 13 days? Well, first of all, we've got Mercury retrograde in Pisces. So that's just initiated, and that's going to be here till the spring equinox. So spring equinox, remember, is a time when everything's go, go, go. Aries sun comes in, and of course, we've got all this other Aries amazing energy. And just to say, I've also worked out key codes now for the Saturn Neptune conjunction and what it means for an individual. So, again, if you really want to focus on what's coming up for you over the next year, then you can drill down with these codes to understand it. And just at that point, I just want to say intuitively, I've been mapping all the new moons and full moons today. And in 2027, on Tuesday, April the 20th, we've got a full moon in Scorpio at 0 degrees. So this is going to be a very big time. If anybody knows any more about this, please do get back to me or mention it in the comments, because it's very significant. So it's going to be the Blue Eagle Wavespell, Red Electric Earth. We're going to be in Moon 10. We're going to be seeing what's manifest, and I'll do some more investigation. But we're going to have 2 full moons in Scorpio at that time, and the next one's at 29 degrees. So there's going to be a reset going on at that time. So speaking of the moon, we have got a full moon lunar eclipse coming up. This is on Tuesday. Tuesday, March the 3rd, 6:37 a.m. Eastern Time. It's a blood moon. And the reason that it's a blood moon is because the Earth is blocking the sun's light from reaching the moon. So the Earth's in between. And the projection then is all the sunrises and sunsets from the Earth are being projected onto the moon. So if you think about the sun being our soul energy, and the moon being our emotional story, our mother's story. So the Earth is literally, it's Virgo, of course, and the reality really with Virgo, the reality of where we are on planet Earth. Full moon is really about seeing what's manifest from 6 months ago and getting a reality check. And this Saturn, Neptune in Aries now, we are no longer building houses of cards. We're no longer carrying on with this corrupted code. So this is really, really key for each individual to focus on. It starts at 3:44 a.m. Eastern Time, and it's going to be visible in the US. And so we need to be in a position where we can actually see the moon. Different, of course, to a solar eclipse, totally different. It's called a womb worm moon, and as well, because traditionally it will be the time when the earth starts to thaw and the worms start to move. So remember, we are coming into alignment in the northern hemisphere with spring, and the equinox is the official time. The Virgo full moon focuses on our diet, our health. It's also connected to the south node, which is like past life. We've got past life in Virgo, purification time as well at this time of year. Again, remember, we're building up to Easter. Easter is going to be in April. It's going to be the 3rd of April. So literally a month later. So again, traditionally in religion, you would be purifying yourself, you would be fasting, Lent, etc. around that. And but before that, this would be a time preparations are being made and looking at all the details, really. So if you are wanting to plant things in the earth, you may have had your seeds ordered, your plants might start arriving, you might be thinking about where you're going to put them. And it's the same for us. You may have done a vision board, for example. You may be looking at, okay, so what ideas are coming in? What do I think I want to make at this time? Also, it's getting that in balance, it's not overthinking it. Remember, the divine has a plan that we have to get into alignment with. Everything is out there on a quantum level around the patterns that match our destiny, and they are limitless as long as we are prepared to do what it takes to match up with them. And all the energy is there, of course, with Aries now. So we've got past life structures. Where have we been bogged down? For example, Virgo can be stuck a lot of the time as well, thinking everything has to be perfect before you do it. Self-criticism. And so really focusing on the universal plan and getting in line with that. Wherever we're focusing on that will be successful as long as we will match the energy and do the work. And so planning is important. We don't want to be going off without thinking about it, which can be Aries shadow. Make sure that we're really looking at this without the rose-tinted glasses. Okay, so yeah, I went big on the calendar this time because I managed to fit it in. So, and I find it easier to use paper. I know that's my generation, but when I don't want to be on my phone all the time. I don't want to be on my computer all the time. So in the mind calendar, in this Wavespell, it's going to be day 6, yellow rhythmic seed. So again, going back to that star seed that's within us that we came here to create. If we get all this other programming out of the way and we're authentic and we decide to go for it, because, hey, why not? Have the courage to go for it. And just start to really focus on where you are on that day. How much of my seed am I able to plant right now? Okay, so on Saturday, the 7th of March, we've got a lovely day of yellow planetary star, and it's a portal day. And we're going to moon 9, so we're going through a literal gateway. Red moon is the 9th mind sign, and it takes us to the next level when we are willing to be authentic, when we are willing to speak our truth no matter what and just go for it. instead of trying to hide or people please or bully, it's letting go of all of these shadow behaviors and just coming into that divine child of authenticity. Just look at what children do in their pure essence before all the mind stuff gets in the way, or their parents get in the way, or their teachers get in the way. They can live very easily and authentically, and that is still in us. Okay, so checking my notes, making sure I've covered everything. So remember, we are in the blue transformation code of Red Skywalker. So we're transforming everything that began on the 10th of December. Of course, right the way back. But the 10th of December is when this started. The 31st of January, if you want to chunk down a little bit more, how are you creating heaven on earth? What are your emotions showing you? What are your triggers showing you? They're showing you a story that keeps repeating. And if we choose to stay in relationship or in frameworks that are not healthy for us, are not loving, are not inspiring, then we have the storm going on. And the storm cycle, as well as being on the planet, of course, there's been a lot of storms happening recently, and more people are becoming aware of the weather modification. And if you're not aware of that, check it out. There's loads out there. Just do your due diligence and have a look, because there are companies in plain sight who talk about their services of weather modification. So this is really important that people actually start to look now and research and find out truth. With this Mercury retrograde, we're going back over dreams and feelings. And again, if you go back into the bigger picture cycle, we just come out of Neptune in Pisces, which was there for a long, long time. Just think back over many years now where you've had a dream and you've thought this is what you were going to do, and then something happened major in terms of globally, in terms of your country, where that wasn't possible. And you couldn't possibly have known about that. Think about 2020, which is when this 5-year cycle was happening before, and think about how that impacted on you. Could you have planned for that event? Because I think most businesses got very impacted about that event, shut down, not able to operate. Some businesses did not, and a lot of businesses made a lot of money because of that event. So that's a key pointer as well. Why did they somehow have everything in alignment with that event? That's a bit of a pointer. This is a book that I just started reading, which is great, all about sleep and understanding what sleep is all about, why it's so important as well. And this is really key to triggers. If you wake up at a certain time every night, there's a reason for it. If you have certain dreams that are haunting you, there's a reason for it. And it's a part of you that's saying there's something that needs resolving here. And again, in my experience, that's always an emotional mind story that hasn't been resolved. This is another great book, mind blowing. Prepare mind to be blown around that. but also, understanding what's going on in our world. And this is very important to people who are doing the transformation process and becoming a Skywalker. Cards for this cycle. I focused on what is coming up, and we have got so again, just look at that star, five-pointed star, a human being, and the shape that it's in as well. So realm shift time is literally changing what we do. Very important right now. So the Thoth cards that I got for today, if you want to know more about these, because these are very powerful cards, then put in the card and add Thoth to it, Thoth. Okay, so cups, empty our cup. This is the holy grail within us. Okay, so wherever we've got triggers, we often think it's the problem, but it's actually the solution when you know how to follow the cookie trail of the trigger. The trigger is a doorway to freedom and peace. EFT will take you through that doorway if you're willing to do the work. You've got to look at what the story is. And often this is painful to do, but believe me, when we don't deal with this emotionally, it then becomes embodied. We have got the Seven of Wands, Valor. Again, there's some very significant things on there. So we've got Mars there in Leo, taking action, healing the heart, having courage. Corleone, which is the family name of the Godfather and a place in Sicily. Again, this is very key to understanding ancestral patterning and how it is still here today. We have got, again, Wands and Sagittarius this time, because these all have astrology with them. So we've got the Nine of Wands, creating new star systems within us. Sagittarius A and B is where new stars are formed. We have got the Two of Swords. How do we create peace within ourselves? And again, most people are still under the illusion that they have to do things outside of themselves first. This is a big ego avoidance of pain, of feeling emotions. Work on the inside, create peace. This isn't about accepting people's behavior, it's about accepting it's happened and how do I just let go of it. It's not an avoidance, it's about feeling the feelings and coming into peace for yourself. Peace begins with me. As we change on the inside, the outside changes. This is the mystery school that we are in. This is how we change the world, by changing ourselves. Again, a very powerful card, inner alchemy. This is the key. All the symbology is there. This is the Philosopher's Stone. turning the lead into gold is the shadow transformation story. We all have one. And this is a time now to really focus on yourself, what storm is within you, and transforming it. So I wish you a wonderful journey over the next 13 days. It's going to be really powerful. And the more that you tap, the more you transform yourself, the more you use these triggers, then everything will change for you and everything will change on the planet. Just imagine if everybody was doing this process every day. Imagine a time when you don't have any triggers and you live heaven on earth. It is possible. Lots of love. Bye for now.